Telling time in Spanish. When telling time in Spanish, you may hear two questions. The first one is, ¿Qué hora es? This is asking what time is it right now. It literally means what hour is it? To answer ¿Qué hora es? You first have to know what time it is. If the time is between 1 o'clock and 1:59, therefore the hour is singular, there's only one of them, you would use es la una. If it's a plural hour, or 2 o'clock to 12:59, you would start off by saying son las and then whatever the hour is. So if it was 2 o'clock, you would say son las dos. Here are a list of all the hours. If it's 1 o'clock, it would be es la una. If it's 2 o'clock, son las dos. If it's 3 o'clock, son las tres, and so on. Notice the asterisk over here. Es el mediodía looks like middle of the day. It means it is noon. Es la medianoche looks like middle of the night. This means midnight. It is midnight. If it is not on the hour on the dot, if it is not just 2 o'clock, there's some minutes that have passed, you would add those minutes by using the Y, which is pronounced E, and it means and then whatever number of minutes follows the hour. So if it was 2:05, I would say son las 2:05. If it was 1:10, I would say es la 1:10. Quince is 15 or quarter past. You'll notice these little asterisks directing me over here. Y cuarto is the fancy way of saying 15 or quarter past. So if it was 5:15, you could say son las 5:15 or son las 5:15. This is a list of numbers going by fives. Notice y 30 has asterisks. Y 30 means 30. A fancy way of saying 30 is y media. It looks like the middle of the clock. You can only use media if it's 30 on the dot. For example, son las 6:30. It is 6:30. You cannot use media to say son las 6:32 to say it is 6:32. You would have to say son las 6:32. Let's do some practice. You can either do this out loud, in your head, on a piece of paper, or not at all. But let's see how you would do. If someone asked you, ¿Qué hora es? And it was 3 o'clock, how would you say it is 3 o'clock? If you're doing the practice, you may want to pause at this point. You should have gotten son las tres. Let's move on. It is 5:25. Son las 5:25. It is 1:15. Notice that we have 1 hour. That is a singular hour. You should have put es la 1:15, or if you were being fancy, es la 1:15. In our last practice, 6:45, son las 6:45. The other question you may see is ¿a qué hora? ¿A qué hora means at what time? To answer this, it's pretty much the same rule as the other format, except instead of saying es la or son las, you're going to use a la una or a las and then whatever the hour is. Okay, the hours, again, at 1 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, and then over here, at noon, at midnight. I think I missed on the first page. Let's take a look here. Yep, I did. By the minutes, de la mañana means in the morning, de la tarde means in the afternoon, and de la noche means at night. My apologies. When asking or telling what time something starts or begins at, we need to use the verb empieza for begins and termina for ends. You can think of termina looks like terminate or the terminator. When you want to say something begins at, you would follow empieza by the letter A. Same with termina. In my example, la clase de literatura empieza a la 1:20 de la tarde. Literature class begins at 1:20 in the afternoon. Dancing with the Stars empieza a las 7 de la noche. Dancing with the Stars begins at 7 at night. Notice you do not have to translate proper nouns. And same thing for it ends. La clase de literatura termina a las 2:15 de la tarde. Literature class ends at 2:15 in the afternoon. Notice I'm using a fancy way of saying 15. Dancing with the Stars termina a las 8:30 de la noche. Notice I'm also using the fancy word for 30 or half past. Let's do practice with these. Remember, we're not saying it is 4 o'clock, we're saying at 4 o'clock. A las 4. A las 7:10. A las 9:45. And a las 11:30 or a las 11:30.